What's up, guys? It's Gunmetal, aka Gun, and today I'll be showcasing the 3 decks I've been using to climb ladder. If you enjoy this type of content or want to see something more, let me know in the comments below. Now let's get into the matches. Alright, so here we're in the first matchup against RT Twins. He is a giant Sparky player. And our first deck that I'm going to be showcasing is my Skeleton Barrel bait deck. In this deck, you're going to have your Wall Breakers, Skeleton Barrel, and Firecracker. Your evolutions are going to be your Firecracker and Skeleton Barrel. Or if you have Wall Breakers, you can sub out your Evil Firecracker for Evil Wall Breakers for just even more pressure. Or, you can stick with Evil Firecracker for offensive and defensive pressure, and then just end up going in for Evil Wall Breakers. But right now with the Skeleton Barrel just being released with a new evolution, and it being boosted, that's why I've been running Skeleton Barrel as my primary Evo and win condition. I also don't have evolutions evolution Wall Breakers, so there's that. But here you see we've already cycled 2 Firecrackers, so by the time we hit our next Firecracker, we're gonna have Evo, and it's 2 minutes in the game, haven't even passed by yet. He has minions, minion horde, but obviously we have Firecracker, we also have Fireball, and we have our Ice Golem. Did I say that? Did I say Ice Golem, Firecracker, Fireball? Yeah, we have counters for his minion horde. And while this deck doesn't have a Sparky reset per se, it does, however, you can kill Sparky with Fireball. You can distract it with an Ice Golem, then get a mini PEKKA down to counter it, which I'm pretty sure you may have already seen me do in this video, or if not, you're going to see me do it later. But yeah, pretty much keep your log in hand if you know that they have Goblin Barrel. Then drop down those Wall Breakers whenever you can, because they're always going to force out a positive elixir trade. He Skarmied for it. That's 3 for 2. Same thing if you were to go for the arrows. God forbid he go for a minion horde ever. For my Wall Breakers, but he does have Zap. That's one thing that he could do to kind of stuff the Wall Breaker push a little bit. But as you can see here, he goes for a Sparky, so I dropped on the mini PEKKA knowing that I'm going to use it as a tank killer, and I tried to drop my Ice Golem in front to protect the mini PEKKA from the Sparky shot, but that doesn't work out, which is why I Fireball it down to DPS it. To DPS the Sparky as fast as possible, since I knew that Skeleton Barrel death damage would clean it up. Tries to go in for a giant, but we have the Goblin Gang and another mini PEKKA to stop that giant before he can get the arrows down. And as you can see, his right side tower is looking pretty low, getting ready to, for Fireball cycle. While his left side still has some good chip damage, and we have a Firecracker down on the left side, so we want the Skeleton Barrel just to keep up pressure, so he can't really go in for a Sparky or a giant. And just through that little kind of like defense, that counter push and like small defense, we got his second tower down to 1,000. Took another 100 damage on his right side, and he goes for pretty much just a naked giant. But we have mini PEKKA. Once again, we have the log for the Goblin Barrel. There really isn't much that he can do. We drop a Evil Firecracker on the right because guess what? No arrows in hand. Just go for Wall Breakers and our Ice Golem, and that's going to be game. GG's. Alright, here we are in the next matchup against Lone. We're going to be playing Queen Bow with his deck. We're going to be playing Queen Bow against his deck. And he kind of has just like a Goblin Barrel but Mega Knight deck. So this is kind of the definition of mid-ladder. He even has Witch. Fun fact about this game, or this match, is I came home at like 6 o'clock in the morning, super tired. Had been drinking, not hungover, but I wanted to get in a little bit of work for the YouTube channel. So, I was just grabbing screen recordings and screenshots from Clash Royale itself, and I accidentally pressed play and got into this matchup, and I couldn't cancel it. But I still managed to play a pretty clean early game. Although I could have ended in overtime, and I didn't, but I still managed to win and play really defensively. But that's just a funny little anecdote about this match. So a little bit of background with me and Xbow is I love Xbow. I remember Best NA CR, shout out to him. He pretty much got me into Xbow, and it's been a staple for me for a while. And I really love, Supercell for, giving out that Evo Tesla and Evo Archers, because, that makes my Expo deck stronger. And you're gonna be seeing like a lot more Expo players with those free evolutions coming out. You already kind of are, but that's the reason why I've been running Queen Bow rather than, Icebow or, standard 3.0 Expo. It's because I feel like having Archer Queen in there, it gives you a little bit more counterplay against Expo decks themselves. And it's, you get a champion, right? So you also get that faster 3-card cycle just to compete like with the regular meta decks that you encounter. So that's my background with Expo. That's my justification for running Queen Bow. And yeah. So, funny thing right here, this is a misplaced Expo. Yet he drops down a Witch and a mini PEKKA to defend it, which I'm so glad about because I dropped that Expo 1 tile too low. It wasn't going to tap his tower whatsoever. He goes for the sneaky barrel, which unfortunately works because I didn't have my log, so I was going to fireball it. But hey, he caught me slipping. I wasn't paying attention. You already know why. But that's okay. He ends up taking a lot of damage on both of my towers. Not both of my towers, on my right side tower for the majority of like this kind of late game. But we get one good Expo push down, catch up on damage, and then from there on we maintain that. So a little bit about the playstyle I'm going to say for Expo is obviously you're playing defensive for the majority of single elixir, right? But once you hit double elixir is when you're going to be able to start spamming the Expos now because it's really a cycle deck. Expo is pretty much cycle. And then you throw an Archer Queen, 3-card cycle, then bam, you only got to worry about Knight, Skeleton, Log, and Fireball to get back to an Expo. And 3 of those cards are 3 elixir or below, so it's pretty easy. But yeah, with that one Expo lock, we almost, get even damage on both of our right side towers. So we're going to keep up that pressure, drop down another Expo. This one's not going to be like as successful, but that's okay because at the tower range that he's at, I can pretty much just start spell cycling him and playing defensively. But like I said, I was very tired, so my brain didn't really realize that right away. But obviously in hindsight and for you guys, for future reference, start spell cycling like around this area. Like if you can play defensively and like stop their pushes, there's no harm in dropping down a fireball just to make sure that you maintain that damage lead and like guarantee you in the overtime. So I dragged out this match way longer than like I really should have. And you see right there, I notice it like starting at 50 seconds. I'm like, okay, I should probably start spell cycling him. He doesn't have any heavy spell. He only has his Goblin Barrel to get like guaranteed damage on my tower, but I have logs, so I can stop that. Well, that Mega Knight is annoying. I have good counters for it. Driving like Knight Skeletons, and then obviously like you've seen how many Archer Queens I've cycled within like the past minute, right? I'll be okay, and Evo Knight for that matter. So while things do look kind of dire here in this situation, I'm really only like 3 fireballs away from taking out his tower. Now 2, or a fireball and a log, but I unfortunately won't have time to do that in this game. Because like I said, I've realized too late when I could start spell cycling. So it ends up being way closer of a match than like it really needed to be. But that was game. And that's my Queen Bow. I recommend running Queen Bow or Expo in general. It's pretty strong. And with the free evolutions they've been giving out, it's definitely a worthwhile deck to learn. All right, so here we're up against a light team. And we're going to be running kind of my classic staple deck of Graveyard, Spirit, Empress. A bit of backstory down when it comes to Graveyard is I used to be a big Splash Yard player too as well. And with the release of Spirit Empress, it's made it a lot more easier and kind of fun to get back into playing Graveyard. I've already made I think 2 videos or so on this deck. If you haven't, go check it out. Because this deck is pretty well balanced, but also powerful at the same time. And what I mean by balance, I think it has like a good core of defense, in offense, and a little bit of control. You have like really great defensive cards with your Knight and your Witch, but as soon as that Witch goes Evo, like, you know what I mean, she becomes such a threat on the offense, especially when you pair her with the Graveyard. Spirit Empress, Flying is such a great like counter push tool, and the Spirit Empress Grounded is a good kind of last resort card. If you need like a really high DPS, kind of like mini PEKKA light card, that's where you're gonna want to use your Spirit Empress grounded. So yeah, the deck synergizes very well. You also have your Goblin Hut for defense. I mean, Goblin Hut literally can like shut down like any PEKKA or Mega Knight push, Ram Rider, Battle Ram, Hog, whatever. Like it's such a good defensive card. And then you have your poison, obviously, to assist your graveyard, which your graveyard is assisting your witch, and your poison is also there for spell cycle too. So, like I said, this deck has like a really good, strong core of like balancing offense and defense. He just went for that Goblin Barrel, but I mean not Goblin Barrel, that Giant Skeleton, and just that combination of like my Hut plus Witch just dropped on like a bunch of skeletons on the right and just baited out the Executioner on the right, which is why I went for a Graveyard on the left, because he was largely leaving that Knight ignored. So I mean, just like even like a Knight at 3/4 health is gonna do an amazing job tanking for Graveyard. We even got a poison down, and that was Tower right there. As you can see, sure, he may have that evil Mega Knight, but that Goblin Hut, like I said, really does just such an excellent job at tanking or defending against like these heavier troops. I really like how they reworked the Goblin Hut. Let me know what you guys think about the Goblin Hut rework. What do you guys also think of this Furnace rework? It seems like a lot of cards right now are kind of getting reworked. You're getting a lot more new cards as well, new evolutions. So it seems like Supercell is kind of in their bag with cooking up these new ideas. But yeah, that's pretty much the match, guys. Like I said, this deck is really good at handling heavy decks if you're good at keeping up the pressure. So GG's to that guy. All right, in this matchup, we're up against Claudio. We're still running a Spirit Empress Graveyard, and I wanted to showcase this match because he's running a Hog EQ, and obviously in mid ladder or even like the higher trophy ranges, you see a lot of Hog, you see a lot of EQ, and obviously his Earthquake is going to be like a great counter for my Goblin Hut, and his Valkyrie is going to be a great counter for my Witch in Graveyard, and he has Firecracker, which is a lot of splash to deal with my bait. So I mean, for all intents and purposes, he should have matchup. So that's why I wanted to show off this deck. But even just that little Witch Spirit Empress push right there was enough to get a lot of pressure, and I took the opportunity to go for a Graveyard since I knew his Firecracker was going to die. So we take a pretty early lead here, but he has the Ice Golem down, and you already know he's going to want to drop that Hog Rider. But I know I have Goblin Hut in hand, but I didn't know he had Earthquake. So while I did get a lot of damage on his left side tower, that Earthquake there is pretty much going to be a great equalizer. And as soon as he drops that Earthquake, I realized that I need to DPS that down. I mean, that Hog down as soon as possible, which is why you see me play the grounded version of the Spirit Empress. You're never really going to want to play the Spirit Empress in her grounded form, because you get so much more value out of her 6 elixir Dragon Rider form. But in like situations like that where you just need to DPS something down and you don't have any good cards in rotation, that's where you're going to want to drop that 3 elixir form. But yeah, we have an Evil Witch down. I don't want to commit too much to this push, but I go ahead and drop that poison just to get rid of that Firecracker, because I know as soon as like this witch spawns more skeletons, she's going to get some value, but she doesn't get those skeletons down in time, and I changed my mind to go for a Graveyard. But that was pretty good because he ends up using his Earthquake to defend. So now his Earthquake is out of cycle for whatever Hog push he wants to go. And he does have 2 evolutions now, being his Valkyrie and his Firecracker ready. But you're gonna see how we handle that. We have our evolution skeleton in hand, and it only takes 1 witch to get back to Evil Witch. That's how powerful she is. And he gets down a beautiful Ice Golem to defend that Spirit Empress from his to defend his Firecracker from my Spirit Empress. That last second, it was great, but I used that poison to take care of that. What do you call it? That Firecracker. And we go for a Goblin Hut in that kind of like anti-Earthquake position, because I know what he's about now, and I just got a bunch of damage, and I don't want like his Hog to catch up in any way, shape, or form. So as you can see, like while he should have like a faster cycle than me, I'm still handling myself pretty well. If you can place those Goblin Huts, in a good position, And just overall keep up that good pressure. Take advantage of like the downtime and the moments when they don't have defensive cards for you. That's pretty much how you're gonna want to play this deck. And then feel free to drop a poison whenever, because you can get a lot of poison value on like their troops and get good just like damage for the late game. Have a witch clean up his tower there. That was GG's. You know how to play this deck. You've seen me do it. Now check out the video on how I do it. All right. And here we're up against a Daki. I don't know how you say his name. But yeah, we're back to Skeleton Barrel bait deck here against a miner control kind of player. He has Rocket, he has Miner, he has Marcher, and he has Tesla. So that Marcher is going to be like, our fireball bait, but then he also has Tesla for defense. But I'm not too worried about that Tesla because we can easily overwhelm him. And like, I know that he's going to, once he realizes that I have Skeleton Barrel, he's going to start using those Teslas for my wall breakers, which is going to be always a -2 trade for him. And as you can see, I dropped down that Skeleton Barrel. So he places his Tesla since, he already logged away my wall breakers. So he's piecing together my deck and I'm piecing together his deck. And that's pretty much one of those kind of like mindsets or skills that you're going to want to start developing, especially around like the trophy range that I'm in. Right now I'm pushing towards 9,000 trophies. I'm at like 8.8k. But I would say like, honestly, like as soon as possible, really just start getting into the habit of like trying to like recognize the decks that your opponent is playing. Like you won't be able to, like I'm not a Bloodhound. I'm not like freaking Riley where as soon as he places one card down, I know like what he's playing. But, start taking note of what cards synergize well with each other. And that's how you start like being able to make prediction plays and stuff like that. It's just it's a bit harder. It's a lot easier said than done, but I think it's worthwhile to develop. Now, a little bit about his deck. He really has no way of damaging me, aside from that Rocket there. And so when you're playing Miner Control, obviously you want to be keeping up pressure a lot. You want to get down a lot of miners for chip damage, so that way, like, once the Blue Elixir kind of, like, runs down, or if you run down the overtime clock, you're only, like, one rocket or two away from finishing off your opponent. But the thing that he's kind of lacking right now is that miner chip damage, because I'm always going to defend his miners really well. And that's kind of due in part to him always placing his miners in the same place. So if you're going to use miner yourself, because I also use miner. I really like 2.9 balloon cycle as well. I'll make a video on that eventually. But for those who play miner, switch up those miner positions. It's as easy as just like going clockwise or counterclockwise on the Princess Tower, or just following the rule of never doing the same miner placement twice in a row. Just like little things like that. They help out. They aren't going to guarantee you to like, get minor damage, but they definitely help. But yeah, with this deck, you see I'm getting a lot of split lane damage, and I'm getting a lot of damage on each side tower. Typically with split lane pushes, you're not really expecting either the right or the left to get damage, but you want the perceived threat of the push, to cause your opponent to defend, so that way whatever lane you actually care about gets the majority damage. But here he's just letting us get like huge damage on both towers, and that Evo Skeleton Barrel, just that dead damage. And the skeletons itself were able to take care of that Tesla, which I'm super happy about, because that gives me free reign to just go for wall breakers, because now he only has log in hand for it. But if he Skelly Barrels for it, then it's kind of up. So I fireball that Magic Archer. Go ahead and use my mini PEKKA to clean up that Knight. I have an evil Firecracker coming down on the right side lane, and a regular wall breaker. He has to tornado to get that stuff into Tesla range, so that way he can take it out, but he just uses Tesla, so I have my wall breakers, and he's gonna go for a log last second. But I have my Ice Golem, which unfortunately didn't really do much, but it did soften up and slow down those evil skeletons, I guess. So we didn't get the wall breaker connection, but that was a lot of damage there. And we just get another pair of wall breakers down, even though he has a Tesla. We softened it up with the mini PEKKA, and while he is stopping damage, he's not like getting damage on me, right? So if I just keep up this pressure, he's not gonna be able to do anything in overtime. Goes for another miner, but you can see we got that last minute ice golem to block, and then we get those goblin gains to continue to distract the miner and kill it. We have an evil skeleton barrel coming down the left side, but he tornadoes it into the center. But those two Teslas are just going to get absolutely destroyed by the amount of skeletons that we have down. We have a bunch of bait coming down the right to stop those evil skeletons, and we're just going to drop down the evil Firecracker just to clean up his magic archer and knight. Get a lot of damage on the right side and just defend the left. This was a beautiful textbook kind of matchup on how you want to play the skeleton barrel bait deck, so definitely give it a try, guys, if you can. It's a great deck. But that is going to be the video, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.